Yo, what up? And welcome to another episode of Straight from the Stands, an unapologetic, unofficial LA Galaxy podcast, hosted by 4 Foul-Mouth supporters who bring you their thoughts and views on everything related to LA Galaxy straight from the stands. I am your co-host Smarts, alongside the always angry Angel, his counterpart level-headed George, and the man with the facts, Masa. Or this is Straight from the Stands.
What up, y'all?
Another fucking morning pod?
This is 2 morning pods within a week.
Yep. Listen, how you guys doing?
Which was the other morning pod?
Yella.
Yella.
That was a sweet. Oh, that was
way
yeah.
That
was at 7 a.m.
That was like break of dawn.
Listen, I was up at 5. I'm okay doing this, but 5 in the morning.
I was up like 5 minutes before we started. No, fucking true. Listen, but in a fucked up situation like we're living in lockdown, without being able to see you guys, without being able to go to a Galaxy game,
I'm locked up.
We've been granted this great opportunity to do this type of content, and I'm super grateful for everybody we interview, anybody who we're gonna interview coming up, and you guys, like our audience, our family, like appreciate you guys like fucking with us and giving us this avenue. I just want to start off by saying that, just because like I'm super grateful that we've been doing this and we got into do this. So big shout out to all you guys.
It was crazy.
Yeah, man. Like, listen, 3 years ago, did you imagine ever doing some shit like this? When we first started this podcast?
Even now, sometimes doing these podcasts, I kind of see and it's like, damn, I'm really having a conversation with Mers. I'm having a conversation with Yella.
I'm in Mers music videos.
Yeah. Listen,
it's like crazy. Yeah.
And a lot of it, 100% of this is due to our community, to the Galaxy family. So big shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for fucking with us and giving us the opportunity to do all this shit.
This one came through shit talking though.
What happened?
Oh yeah, shout out to George. Look, I know you talk a lot of shit, but this time it was worth it, dog. Good shit, dog.
But listen, like the community gives us validation. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he gets. I'm sure.
Arguable.
I'm sure who we're gonna interview today. You know, I mean, the cat out the bag. We're interviewing Herc today. I'm sure he gets a lot of tweets similar to the one that you give out. But the community gives validation.
I don't understand. I legit don't understand why we put so much energy to whatever. That's a different story. We'll talk about that some other time.
But without further ado, today we get a chance to talk to Herculez Gomez for a little bit. We got an hour with him because my man is actually on air, so he doesn't have the time to fuck with us as much as we want to. But we try to make it a good interview and get in some questions, find out a little bit more about him, get in some questions that the community wants to listen to. Check it out.
Yes, sir.
Yo, Herc, welcome to the show, Straight from the Stands.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Listen,
thanks for coming on board.
You're one of the interviews that people wanted for all kinds of reasons, right? We'll get into it, but let's kick this off by talking about who you are and where you came from and all that. Vegas. You're originally from Vegas, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Vegas. I was born actually in
You're
LA.
in Oxnard, right?
Yeah, I was born in LA and I lived in Oxnard for quite a bit. My grandmother, who recently passed away not too long ago, was still in Oxnard probably like her whole life. So it's crazy. I've still got Ventura County ties. But I was raised in Vegas up until like 10 to 18 years old, and then I left, and I've just been nomading about, man. This is what this career would do to you. But Vegas is still home. My family's out there in Henderson. Everybody. And I'm talking about everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Mother, father, my brother's a cop now there. My sisters and brothers, they work in the hotel industry, so tourism and all that stuff. So Vegas ties for sure.
And
I'm curious, how are they handling it right now? Sorry, Rudy. How are they handling it right now? Because my dad lives out there in Vegas too, and he's like, the strip is completely shut down. Like everything is quiet, which is it's crazy, right? It's nothing for being Vegas.
Yep.
How's your family handling it?
Yeah, man. Thanks for asking. They're doing as well as they could. Obviously my parents are older now, so we're doing everything in our power to keep them secluded and make sure they're comfortable with whatever they may need, whether it's groceries or any type of help with anything. And I'm the oldest of 5, so there's 4 in Vegas right now that are helping, and they've got their kids and they're helping their grandparents any way they can, trying to keep them safe as possible. So it's good, man. Listen, these are trying times.
Yeah,
unprecedented,
times, right?
Yeah, unprecedented. Like, there's nobody who's going to tell you that they've been through anything like this unless they were around in the polio years, the Black Plague.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I think this is something we're going to remember for the rest of our lives. We're going to tell our grandkids about, our great grandkids about. It's scary because it's unknown. And yeah, Vegas is shut down like many other parts of the country are shut down right now, at the expense of getting political. I'm sure you guys saw the Mayor Carolyn Goodwin of Las Vegas go on Anderson Cooper and kind of say everything she has to say, and it makes you like worried, like holy wow, like if our politicians don't know what's going on, if they can't figure this out, like, where are we heading? And Vegas is just like anywhere else right now. It's at a standstill, and until it's safe enough for us to resume, we just got to listen to the proper authorities.
You know,
I know you mentioned that your brother's your brother's in Vegas. He used to be an MMA fighter, right?
Yeah.
Is he still doing that out there?
Yeah. He's still out in Vegas. He's in Henderson as well. My whole family's in Henderson, which is a suburb of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But my brother had a pretty good MMA career, and UFC comes about and finally has his weight division. And by that time, he was already on his latter years, and he had a few fights in the UFC. But my brother was no joke. Tiachi Palace, 2-time champion for his division. I do a show on ESPN Deportes in Español, and I do a lot of combate, a lot of sports like boxing and UFC. And anytime we come across a UFC fighter, it's funny how the circles kind of have intertwined before. And if I mention my brother, like, yeah, I know Yuli and this and that, and it's pretty crazy. But
coming out of Oxnard, you have those boxing roots.
That's
Oxnard
right.
is huge for boxing.
Yeah. La Colonia Gym. Yeah, you know exactly. You're boxing, bro. Oxnard's big on a few things. It's boxing, it's frutas, like fruit picking.
Yeah.
And it's Parque del Sol, where they had a huge amateur like soccer kind of upbringing that I was exposed to, and that's really how I fell in love with the game.
Let's move on to that. Is that how you eventually get looked at by Cruz Azul's academy? Is that how that comes about?
No, I was in Vegas, and I was 18 years old, and didn't have any serious offers from universities or anything like that, and I felt I could play, and it was like my dad knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
That's how it works.
I went to a tryout in Pachuca, 3rd division Pachuca, and this was before Pachuca was Pachuca, when they were just back in 1st division trying to make a name for themselves. And what you guys got to understand about Pachuca, Pachuca today has the best facilities in all of Mexico and maybe the world. It's insane. Like La Universidad they have, it's a university, so to speak. It's a football university. They've got facilities and installations like nobody else in the world that I've seen. And I've been to the new Arsenal ones. I've been to the Spanish Federation facilities. I've seen all the facilities in the States. I've seen a majority of in Mexico, in Latin America. I've never seen one like Pachuca. It's insane. But back then, all it was a little mini warehouse. And in this warehouse, you could probably fit in 60 to 80, maybe 100 people tops. And on each side of the warehouse, they had bunk beds, and I'm talking about like one after the other of bunk beds on each side lined up against the wall. And there was a small cafeteria, and then there was the showers. That was their Fuerzas Básicas, or their program, so to speak, back then. It was miserable. There was 2 fields to train on. It was Pachuca, and if you've ever been to Pachuca, there's not much. It's windy, it's cold, it's hot, it's rainy, it's snowy, and this is all on the same day.
It's a vacation.
So it's insane. So things didn't go well in that tryout, but luckily there was a scout there from Cruz Azul. I think we're playing a farm team that they had brought over or whatever, and he asked me what the situation was and where I was from and this and that. And before I knew it, I went to Cruz Azul, and I stayed there for about 4 or 5 months, pretty much just training. I never really signed with them, but they nice enough to put me up in the team facilities for the Fuerzas Básicas, and I got to eat, been trained there. It was a great exposure.
Dope.
And you're in the main city too, right?
I'm sorry?
You were in the main city. You went from Pachuca to the capital.
Yeah, and you're now next to La Noria. You're in the Xochimilco area, and that was an experience in itself. Being in Mexico City, and people don't understand sometimes what it takes to be a professional athlete to achieve your dreams. And I remember we would train relatively close to where I lived in this Casa Club that was called El Museo. And the reason it was called El Museo, the museum, is because it was behind a museum. And we'd walk to training, which was like 2 blocks, no problem. But about 2 times a week, sometimes more, we had to go to these training fields in Xochimilco. And to get there, I would have to take the metro, which is a subway. I take the metro. I would take a bus. I would take a combi, which is like those little mini VW.
Yeah.
It's like the VW vans.
Yeah.
Stuffed with like 30 people. And then I would walk, I don't know how many miles to get to this training facility. It was a process. It took me like
So your warm up. You're basically doing a warm up.
Yeah, hour and a half each way just to go train. And I'm not signed on the team at this point. You know, I'm training on my own and doing my own thing, trying to make it. So it's difficult out there. But listen, man, I enjoyed it. Those are some of the craziest things that happened to me and some of the most rewarding.
And you're how old at this time? Like, give me.
I just turned 38.
No, he means during that time.
Oh, it's 20 years ago. I was 18. Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you. I didn't mean to do that to you.
You just outdated, you know?
I didn't mean to do that to you.
Don't worry, Rudy's your age, so it's okay.
Oh, listen, kinda, sort of, almost. Dope, man. And then, so that doesn't work out. You go to Gauchos in San Diego?
No. Actually, from there, I had done well enough at Cruz Azul where people were like, you know, nice to me, and they're like, hey, if you want to play, I heard there's a new team starting up in Puebla, Halcones Blancas de Puebla. It was something like that. I don't even remember the team name. It was something so crazy, and it had nothing to do with Puebla, the first division team.
Right.
And the team trained in Puebla, but it played in Mexico in Tecamachalco, which is an outskirt of Mexico City. And I went there. Signed my first professional contract, and I still have it. I have it somewhere lying around. It's in a box, but it's in this scrapbook, and it's laminated, and it's my contract. Yeah. And it's the first peso that I made off of it. So it's 200 pesos that I still have that I made in my first professional deal. I got paid 400 pesos a month. That would be the equivalent today of like $16.
Yeah.
And from the time that you went to Mexico to when you signed your first contract, how long was that time with you not even earning a dollar? How long did you have to grind it out before you ever signed that first contract?
7 months, probably 7 months. But listen, even when I got that contract, it wasn't like that. But I did my dream. I said I played professional soccer, right? It's difficult out there. It's sometimes it's very difficult. And back then it was equipos afiliados, so teams that were affiliated with these first division teams, the Cruz Azuls, the Morelias, the Pueblas, the Americas, Chivas, y no afiliados, these teams who had a right to kind of get promoted. But it was a crazy system. I mean, to get promoted in third division Mexico, second division Mexico, it's these regional things, and then you go national, and there are like 300 teams to try to get promoted to like what is the second division, and it's very diluted and very difficult for these players to really make it out. So I was frustrated, man. I told the coach and the ownership group I didn't want to be there anymore, and I want to leave. I wanted to go back to the States, and I wanted to study. And they gave me my player card, tu carta, which is like lets FIFA know that you are free now to go wherever and do whatever you want. You don't have any ties to this team.
Yeah, your rights, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly, player rights. And that's when I went to back to Vegas, kind of tail between my legs, and wanted to be done with it. And a friend saw this tryout. I don't even know if it was online or a flyer or what. It was in San Diego. He's like, let's go, man. Let's just do it. So we drove out the same day. I remember being under the weather, not feeling well, driving out the same day, getting there, paying my $50 registration fee, and then doing the worst tryout or worst piece of like an event planning I've ever seen in my life. It felt like there was 500 people there, and it was 2 fields. And
wow.
They were really smart about what they did. And I'm sure this is a tactic that now a lot of Major League Soccer clubs who do these open tryouts to kind of promote within the amateur side of the game do. But they just had us run sprints. It's a fitness testing first, and it weeded out a lot of people. So if you couldn't pass the fitness test, they were like, "How do you expect us to look at you? How do you expect us to think you can play here?" Which is smart. By that, over half dropped. And as the day kept progressing, I was doing well. And before I knew it, I got a phone call from the general manager and coach of the San Diego Gauchos. And he was like, hey, would you like to come play for the Gauchos? And that's what happened, man. I played for the Gauchos. I made $500 a month, slept on somebody's couch, and they gave me a coaching job on the side.
I mean, at least you got more money, right?
19 years old, $500 in my pocket, and a coaching job. I was happy. And to live in San Diego, bro, I was happy.
Yeah.
All right, listen, I know we're in a time constraint because you're a busy man. Get me through Gauchos and how you end up with the LA Galaxy, how they look at you. Talk to me about that.
That's easy, man. Gauchos new club, USL D3, formed a sponsorship with the LA Galaxy. So we played exhibition game at the Rose Bowl. The year was 2002. And we got smashed. It was like 7-1. It was so bad that Matt Reese even scored on us. He might have had 2 goals. He was
Wow.
on the field and just
Wait, so how did that happen? Did they put him forward, or he just happened to boot it from the back?
You guys ever seen Matt Reese with his feet? The guy is legit.
Yeah.
I know talks about Nick Raimondo, but hold up a second. Matt Reese has a legitimate gripe when it comes to being arguably the league's best goalkeeper with his feet ever. And I'm talking about Campos too, Campos, Nick Raimondo, Matt Reese is up there. He used to, in the locker room, he would strip down naked and he would play soccer tennis against the tall, and he would smash everybody naked and barefoot playing soccer tennis.
You're gonna have to ask him about this one day.
Oh my God. He's and also one of the greatest people you will ever meet. He is quality people. But anyways, he mopped us up, scored I think 1 or 2 goals. I ended up scoring the goal for us. I was 19 years old, and you guys know how Major League Soccer was back then. If you wanted to come play for Major League Soccer, like any team, the Galaxy, for example, you had to go the route of university, college, and you did your 3 to 4 years, and you would get drafted. So the youngest guys on the team were, for example, Chai Bardalis, Alejandro Moreno, and myself, and those guys are like 23 years old. I'm 19. So Ralph Perez, the assistant coach at that time for Siggy Schmidt, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He comes up to me and he goes, "How old are you?" And 19. And he goes, "Where are you from? What's your story?" Give him a story. And he's like, "All right, we'll keep watching you." Long story short, season ended. I scored something like 17 goals that season for the Gauchos, and they were like, "Hey, we want you to come up and do a tryout." I think Chai Bardalis had just torn his ACL, and Weston McKinney and I were brought up. He was in Portland at the time, I believe, and 2-week tryout. They said, "We want to sign you to a developmental contract," and this was August. Come October,
Wait, so
November,
you tried out with Weston McKinney for the Galaxy?
He was already there. Weston was already kind of guaranteed. He was part of the Galaxy, and they loaned him out to Portland. So he got drafted. He got drafted by the Galaxy, loaned out to Portland, killed it that season with Portland, came back, got recalled from his loan. I did the tryout, made the team. And that was in August. By November, we had played the Open Cup final, lost to Columbus, and we had won MLS Cup, beat the Revolution 1-0 at New England. So that was my first, not really doing anything, MLS Cup champion.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not a bad way to start. Listen, so tell me what that means. What that means to you, right? You up to this point, you had, a pretty crazy road where you're trying different things, out in Mexico, in USL. What does it mean to you? Like now you're in MLS, right? And I get it. 2002, maybe MLS is not the most exciting thing. It's not what it is today for sure. But what does that mean to you? Like you're with the MLS.
Everything. It was everything back then. It was validation. It was validation of all the hard work, sacrifice, struggle that I had been through, all the different trying out of different teams and knocking on doors and training sessions by myself and the mental battles. It was validation of that. So that felt good. And also it felt good to get some money in my pocket. We won MLS Cup and it was like
bonus.
$10,000 bonus.
Yeah.
I was making $850 gross a month to live in $860, gross a month to live in California. So it was a very welcomed little bonus.
So you get this.
I can imagine.
You get MLS Cup and everything, and then you get a big injury, right? You get a broken leg.
Right. I broke my 5th metatarsal the next season. I was 20 years old. LA Galaxy wanted me to play more. You're not going to play. I believe this was actually, I'm sorry, 2003, I got waived by the Galaxy. No. I'm sorry, I lied. I played my first minutes with the Galaxy. I came on as a sub against Kansas City on the road in an overtime game. We had overtime back then. I'm 19 years old. And I remember that it was golden goal. And I touched the ball once in those 5 minutes. And the very next play, they come right back down our throat and score. And that was my professional debut. I played 5 minutes. That's all I played that season. But I'm 19 years old, so I'm like, whatever. The following preseason, I get waived by the Galaxy. And I end up going back to San Diego, played USL with the Gauchos. I played indoor with the San Diego Sockers.
That's cool.
Was coaching at the same time. That team folded, the San Diego Sockers, which had a rich tradition, all of a sudden folded because of some shady owner and penny stock, and that he bought the team in this crazy situation with finances. Went back to Vegas again, and it was Ralph Perez who called me, and he's like, hey, Siggy's no longer with the team, and Steve Sampson's there, and I think you should go and try out for them. I'm like, dude, I'm done trying out. Nah, dude, I got to do something else in my life. I'm 21 right now. I'm going to be 22, literally in a few months. I got to do something else, Ralph. And he goes, don't be stupid.
Is this 05?
This is 05, heading into 05. And he goes, don't be stupid. And he goes, just it's there if you want it. And I remember calling my club coach, who's like my best friend. When he was 22, I was 10 years old, and he coached me from 10 years old to about 18 with a bunch of other kids in Vegas. So me and like 9, 10 of the kids grew up together from we were little. They're my best friends to this day. And I told him about the situation, and he goes, Herky, what are you doing, man? He's a partner at PwC right now, and his name's Frank. And he goes, what are you doing, man? I would trade everything I have right now financially and my job title to go back and have the chance to play one season as a professional. You've got a chance to play right now and keep your career going. Do it, man. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, dude, it's going to be expensive to play for the Galaxy. And I just said it that way. And I was like, I doubt they'll give me a regular contract, this and that. And he goes, come live with me. And I said, what? And he goes, it's just me and my wife in Manhattan Beach right now. We have no kids. We've got extra space at the house. Come live with me.
They were at the El Segundo location then, I take it?
Yeah, and now they're in Manhattan Beach, bro. They're like a few blocks away from the beach, in the heart of Manhattan Beach, downtown Manhattan Beach. And I was like, all right, came down, lived with them, and had the time of my life that season.
Bet, man.
Well, come on, don't underestimate it. Coming out, that was a double season.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I didn't have anything. So I was literally on tryout, and I was already kind of pissed because I'm on tryout. I felt, in a way, disrespected, but the coach didn't know me. This team was different. There was a few guys who knew me from back then. Kevin Hartman, Pete Vahanas. Who else? Kobe Jones, Raul, the equipment manager. There was a few people in that organization that already knew me. So when this chance comes about, I do well enough where I earn a senior developmental contract, which is something like $1,200 a month gross. You're still a developmental player. You're not part of the official roster, so to speak. And that was the first year of the reserve league. And I remember getting a few games in the reserve league, scoring 1 or 2 goals, more games in the reserve league, scoring some more goals. And now we're in June, and I'm still not really playing, and I'm kind of getting frustrated, but I'm doing well in these reserve games. I'm doing well at training sessions. Landon goes to Gold Cup. Jovan goes to Gold Cup. Albright goes to Gold Cup. Tyrone Marshall goes to Gold Cup. And so on and so on and so on. We have a few injuries. We've got guys who aren't producing. Naldo Conceição. Yeah, he wasn't. He was a Brazilian guy who came. He wasn't really producing. So they gave me a shot, and before I know it, I get an assist. I get an assist on July 4th game against the Revolution at home. And then the next game I play, I get a goal. And then the next game I play, I get 2 goals coming off the bench against Chivas USA, our rivals. And before I know it, it's to the point. All right, let me backtrack. The first game I start at home is against Real Madrid. It was a string of friendlies that started all that is the ICC and all these competitions.
That's where you try to score the original Golazo,
I remember.
huh?
Yeah. So it's fun. It's
shot
crazy.
40 yards out.
Exactly. Iker Casillas, Zidane, Figo, Robinho, Michael Owen, David Beckham. Like the list goes on and on. And Aguti.
Right?
Yeah, the real guy, like Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Talk about your moment with Zidane.
Yeah. I forgot who stole the ball. I think it might have been Paulo Nagamura stole the ball from Zidane probably, and he played it to me. And instead of me using my speed, because I was really fast back then, the defender backed off, and I saw an opportunity to shoot, even though it was from like 35, 40, and I shot, and it was a crazy dipping shot. I think I caught Iker off guard, and if it's on frame, it's going in. I've got no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I it pretty hard. And it goes wide, but like by inches. And I'm like, oh, and I'm backpedaling like over my mouth, like, holy shit. And as I'm backpedaling, I step on somebody. I look over, I'm like, I'm sorry. And I realized it was Zidane. I was like, I just stepped on God. I stepped on football Dios. You know,
that's funny. That is hilarious. Listen, talk to me real quick about winning MLS Cup and then getting the goal winning
game winning the Lamar
Hunt.
For
fucking Lamar Hunt.
Sorry, sometimes Rudy struggles with English. I apologize.
Listen, it's 10:55 in the morning. It's way earlier than my wake up time for quarantine. So sorry about that. But yeah, talk to me about that. About those two events.
All right, so the Open Cup game happened first. Family's in town. I've been getting plenty of minutes, and I'm gonna start this game against Dallas. And this was now FC Dallas. They're no longer the Dallas Burn. They're FC Dallas. That's right. They got Carlos Ruiz, who's El Viejo Conocido. He's a guy that we know very well. He was actually that preseason. He was still with us in LA. He was still with us in the Galaxy. I remember going to Europe. We went somewhere in Europe, and he was my roommate. So he's still with us. Yeah, he's still with us in preseason. Goes to Dallas for that trade that was Landon Donovan. So he actually didn't play that game, if I remember correctly. He had some sort of issue with his hamstring. He didn't play that game, luckily for us, because he's a baller. But it's early in the first half, and it's funny because anytime people see that goal, they're like, man, MLS games really struggled back then, because they see like empty stands behind the goal. And I have to explain it to them like, no, I mean, yes, they did struggle back then, but no. Also, you have to keep in mind that the university was a midweek game, and they put a cap on the number of people that can come in midweek. So we were only allowed to sell, I believe, 10,000 tickets, and they sold them, but none of those fans were behind the goal that I ended up scoring the scissor kick on. So it's like a great goal and whatnot.
Not good for highlight reel.
Yeah, it looks like we're playing behind closed doors, bro. It looks like there's coronavirus all over us. So it was a good goal, a great moment for us. We ended up winning. I do recall after this game, Tim Leiweke, who was the president at the time of the team, he comes into the locker room, and I believe he's on crutches. I don't know why he was on crutches. I forget. He might have hurt his leg.
Get you guys Laker tickets.
Right. He says, if you guys win MLS Cup, along with this Open Cup, we're going to give you Laker tickets. Not just any Laker tickets. We're going to buy you guys a team suite. So I am, bro, like
for the season too, right? I think he mentioned season for the entire season.
Of course, the season. And listen, man, I'm a young guy in LA, so anything free, I'm all about.
All the right word. 05 Lakers.
To the day, though. Like, you know what I mean? Tell me to the day.
Lakers. So, and this is the funny thing about that. I mean, we ended up going to win MLS Cup, and we'll get there in a bit. But when you get to enjoy the 06 suite, the Lakers suite, I went to as many games as humanly possible. Okay. The only games that there was really a rule of like a cap of who can go and how we were going to allocate the tickets was like the Christmas game,
right.
But the rest of them were fair game, and we could all go. And sometimes we'd be able to bring like our friends and family. It was awesome. It was dope. I remember one day I'm like hungover from the night before, and I forgot exactly what I did the day before or whatever. I'm tired. I don't want to go. They're playing Toronto. I'm like, I'm not going to go. They're playing Toronto. I'm not going. All I know is I turn on the news and it's like Kobe Bryant goes off.
81 points. Oh, man, you missed that.
Yeah, the 81-point game, or it was 81 or 82. I forget, but it was
81.
81, yeah. And he goes off, and I'm thinking to myself, like, you idiot.
That is funny. That is funny. Man, that's super dope. You finally get a crack at the U.S. men's national team. Right? You get this crack at the national team.
I do and I don't.
Hold on. Wait a second really quick. Before we get there, MLS Cup, you talked about Lamar Hunt. We didn't talk about MLS Cup. Talk to us about MLS Cup because everyone wants to know if you really felt that you were offside on that goal. And, that question came up a few times.
There's no chance
I agree.
You think VAR would have turned that back?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no chance I was offside. I remember Todd Donovan and I talking about it after the game because Todd had this unbelievable ability of playing a ball over distance that, as a left back, that I've only seen out of two other people, and that's Jeff Agus and Greg Vanney, on the U.S. men's national team scale. He could ping a ball, drive a ball over a long distance, and he was so good about reading the run. So I knew that if I just made a hard, crisp run, he would find me. And he found me, and I don't even know why I shot it. I honestly probably shouldn't have shot it. I should have cut back and tried playing Landon, who was ridiculous that whole playoff. But I shot it, and it was perfect. Matt Reese couldn't do anything. He just kind of hopped, one step hopped, and looked over his head and watched it go in. The New England defense never once, the one like, no, it's offsides. We know it's offsides.
Yeah.
They didn't even once hesitate. They were already head down. I was already celebrating, running over to me. I couldn't believe when it was called offsides. I've got no doubt that today, in today's term, that would have been questionable and gone to review. But I know when it's close. It wasn't close. It was not close at all. And I believe it was Eric Winalda on the call with JP De La Camera, maybe. They didn't even talk about it. They didn't replay it. I was like, wow, what's going on here? Not even like it was that. It kind of happened that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You listen, that must have been a heartbreak. That must have been a heartbreak. I know you had to get on with the game, but there had to be a heartbreak.
How many times did you see that replay after that game?
Well, that's the thing. They didn't show the replay at all. There was no replay.
So that was it.
That was it. When I mentioned that to the production team of the Galaxy, and they were like, hey, we're going to talk about MLS Cup and this and that, and they sent the highlights of that game, I was like, whoa, wait a second. Where's the highlight of this goal? And they're like, what goal? And they're like, oh, all right, cool. And then Kobe was
see how it is. I see how it is.
Kobe was there. He's like, yeah, for sure that happened.
That's funny. Listen, you guys ended up winning the cup. Take it. But yeah,
that's why I'm wearing this jersey today.
We get the double. We get the double for the first time. 05, we get the Lamar Hunt and the MLS Cup.
Yeah, which was, listen, everybody remembers a double, but people don't remember how we got into the playoffs. We went from first to
last
fourth.
Seed, right?
Yeah, last day of the season. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this goal of Dwayne De Rosario. He hits this banger on the Galaxy and it bends over like three players.
Yep.
That was the last day of the season. I'm one of the guys in that wall. He scores a freaking golazo, like insane golazo, and that they've trounced us at home. It literally sent us from, like, I think tied for first to fourth, and it made them go up to first. So it made us play them in the first round of the playoffs. And we really weren't having a great season. Steve Sanson had all kinds of pressure.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster ride for sure.
Yes. Steve Sanson had all kinds of pressure. Landon's first season, there was still that San Jose Galaxy mistrust by a lot of fans. You know what I mean?
I was on that boat.
Yeah.
And I've been on that boat record for saying this, and people give me shit for that. I can still make an argument as to why, if you're a Galaxy evangelist, right, like we are, especially me, I can argue that maybe Landon Donovan should not be in the greatest of all time for the Galaxy for that specific reason.
No, that's a big argument.
I can make the argument, right, but I'm saying it's not gonna hold true, but of course, listen, I get it. But I have a personal hate for San Jose that there's certain things I can't, and everyone knows this. This is a personal thing. So listen, I get it 100%. He isn't. We had this conversation on the pod. He is in my greatest of all time for sure. In that list, I'm just saying that I could make a small argument. Yeah, asterisks on it. Yeah, for sure, definitely. I'm not going to deny that.
Here's the argument that I think you should be making is, given the circumstances, like that deal today wouldn't probably go down. I mean, you take one of the best players the U.S. has at the moment and you change him from a team that he's already won championships with to another team that's their rival, and you give that team, the Galaxy's best player, away to a different team.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, the circumstances surrounding it make it very murky, and it wouldn't happen today. But definitely there's understanding for how people could see that as being a terrible move, this and that. But I mean, we've got the benefit.
Well, if it happened today, it'd be bigger questions. It'd be all over the news. Yeah.
Listen, if David Stern, God rest his soul, rest in peace, if he was the commissioner for the MLS at the time, he would have vetoed that trade. Like he did the Chris Paul trade. He would have, he would have vetoed that trade.
Listen, we do have some questions, and we do want to get into some stuff that's more relevant today. But I have to ask this, right? After the Galaxy, you've been places, you know what I mean? Like you hopped around, especially Mexico. peaks, valleys, the whole nine. Give me a recap of what life after the Galaxy, especially in Mexico, is like.
Life after the Galaxy, excuse me, was difficult in Major League Soccer because I went from not knowing how good I had it, brand new stadium, and you guys will know what I'm talking about. When I played for the Galaxy, you always heard from around the league, fans in particular, oh, it's for the Galaxy, so of course the league will make this happen, this and that, And I'm like,
listen,
come on. Yeah, you're like, come on, But then you get outside of the Galaxy and you're like, holy shit, man, the Galaxy is nice. They got all the ballers. They got a brand new facility. The town, supports them. The team matters in LA, that kind of thing. You're like, damn. And now I go to Colorado, and even though we're opening a brand new stadium, that allure of the brand new stadium only lasts so long. We don't have big time star players. We don't have the attention LA has, et cetera, et cetera. You go to Kansas. I'm playing at Community America Ballpark. It's a AA baseball field. We're getting about 2,000 fans a game. It's difficult, and you don't realize how good you have it until you leave. So that was difficult. And also because my best years in that moment in the Major League Soccer were with the Galaxy, and I felt grossly underpaid. I was team MVP of a team that won the double. I was scoring goals. I was, having relatively good seasons, getting the national team coach's eye, Copa America, whatnot, and I'm making $52,000 a year. So I felt grossly underpaid. And then I leave Kansas City, not because I wanted to, but because it was a shit offer. I leave on a free, find myself in Puebla. And in my first season in Puebla, man, things happened so fast that, excuse me.
You good?
It happened so fast that I really didn't know how to respond to it. I'm scoring goals. I'm getting national, international attention. My name's in papers. My name's on, being said on TV, on the radio. I've never experienced attention like this at any level. And this is while at Puebla. Puebla's by no means a huge club,
Oh, yeah.
I end up winning the goal scoring title, and it's like I'm getting offers. I'm getting crazy offers in Europe. I'm getting crazy offers in Mexico. I made $55,000 for the 5 months that I was in Puebla. Okay.
How big do you think Puebla was for your 2010 World Cup cap?
It was everything. I wasn't in the picture until that happened. I didn't play one single World Cup qualifier, one single minute, one single game. I didn't get one single call up. That put me on the map and gave me an opportunity to get into the 30-man camp for the World Cup. And that was Charlie Davies. He had the crash, his car crash, his unfortunate car accident. Right. So it opened a possibility for Edson Buttle, for Robbie Finley, and myself of coming in, and we thought it was going to be one of us. It turned out being all three of us.
Yeah,
Brian Ching, Eddie Johnson didn't make it, so it was everything that Puebla turned. But I went from making $55,000 for that season, that's those 5 months at Puebla, to getting sold for 1.5. To go into Pachuca. I finally got money in my pocket, got a nice little bonus, got a nice little salary. Made it to the World Cup.
Pachuca, right?
Right.
Because you were there originally, yeah.
They had me for free, and then they had to pay 1.5 for me, so that felt great. And then go to a Club World Cup with Pachuca. I mean, that year alone, it was like you pull together all the money I had made as a professional, gross. I out doubled it net that year alone, and it felt amazing. It felt like I'm finally here. This is what it's supposed to feel like. This is what it's supposed to feel like. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, 100%. World Cup 2010. What is that?
Yeah.
Like? I mean, it's a World Cup, right? For anybody, listen, anybody who ever played soccer, no matter what level that is, right? That's the ultimate dream, like playing in the
That's
World
the pinnacle.
Right?
Yeah,
What is that like? Talk to me about 2010 World Cup.
So I'm a Vegas kid, and I always referred to it as house money. If I didn't play one single minute at the World Cup, I'm fine. I made it to a World Cup. But then it's like, wouldn't it be nice to play 1 minute to say I played in the World Cup?
I played in the World Cup.
And the first game, I'm on the bench, and you could only at this point, 23 made it on the bench, or 23 players made the roster, 18. And 11 played. The other 12 are on the bench, but at one time only 3 can warm up. So you would alternate warming up, and it was really strange. It's really difficult for a player to really get in rhythm doing that, you know? So a coach has to be almost tactical with the way he approaches that. Mm-hmm. So if he thinks
warm up, correct?
Right. If he thinks he's going to use you while you're on the sideline, you have to stay somewhat active and loose. It's almost like he's tipping his hand. You've got a good chance of going in. Mm-hmm. Well, I was one of those 3 players against England. We're tied 1-1. Clint Dempsey scored a goal.
Yeah, I remember that.
1-1. We're not supposed to be tied 1-1. England's supposed to be crushing us
on the floor with us. Correct. Yeah.
We're still in this game. I think we had a few chances. Josie had an unbelievable turn against, I think it was John Terry, and he hit the crossbar or the post. I don't recall what. I think it was a post. We honestly had our chances, and there's like 5 minutes left to go in the game. And I'm going to come in for Clint Dempsey. And I'm like, oh, shit, I'm going to get in the game. You can finally say you played in the World Cup. I'm stoked. I'm excited. The ball's not going out of bounds. I'm waiting on the sideline. I've already turned in my card to the assistant referee. He's already got in his hand, the little billboard with the number. Clint's number 8, my number 9, and he's already got it ready to go. The ball's not going out. It doesn't go out for like 4 minutes. And I'm like, what is going on? Ball finally goes out. And Clint's like walking, slow playing it as he should. And I'm even giving him the like calma, the hands, the Cristiano calma, like, hey, chill,
calma,
take your time. Yeah. Right, we want to make time and get this game over with because it's 1-1, and that's a great result for us. The hardest team, theoretically in the group.
The group, right?
Right. So right before he comes out of bounds, he's like 5 yards away from me. All I hear is,
oh shit!
In game. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, man, I just got on the field. All right, so game ends, and, we're high-fiving and hugging on the field, and Steve Cherundolo comes up to me, and he goes, hey, good stuff. Never mind. I'll tell you some other time. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'll tell you some other time. Steve, just tell me now. No. It's just a story, but I'll tell you some other time. Don't worry about it. I'm like, Steve, you obviously want to say something. Just tell me now. And he's like, well,
yeah.
Same thing happened to me my first World Cup, and the next day of training, I tore my ACL. Like, why would you ever say that? He's like, no, don't worry. That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen to you, I swear. It's not. This is my story. Yeah.
To the next game, we're down 2-0 at halftime against Slovenia, and Bob calls my number, and he goes, Herc, you're going in. And I come on at half. And we do a double substitution. Gooch comes out and Jose Torres comes out. I come on, and I believe Benny came on, Fehlhaber. Or is it Mo? It might have been Mo. And we come on. And one goal goes in. The second goal goes in. We're 2-2. And then Mo Adu has the third goal that he scores off a free kick, and they call a foul in the box. If you look at the replays now, I don't know what the foul that was called was. It's a phantom foul that the referee made up.
Yeah.
But regardless, we're excited. We're all emotional. In the locker room, we're celebrating. And Steve comes up to me and he just goes, I told you that wasn't going to happen.
Well, at least he remembered. He told you that.
Yeah.
It must have been something, though. That was a great run in the year. So, listen, you play your career. How the hell you end up in ESPN? Like was that always the game plan? Was that you... Because I know you had some coaching, right? Like you mentioned you had a few coaching jobs.
Hi, what's going on? In Mexico, I called the press perros. I called them dogs. I had to go at the press, and I've always been kind of say what I.
Oh, that's why you're in ESPN, not on Televisa, right?
Yeah. I always say what's on my mind, type of guy. And this kind of happened by accident. The idea for me was I wanted to be, and I remember playing when I was with Santos. We would play CONCACAF Champions League against the Sounders pretty much every year. And I remember talking to Chris Henderson before one game, and Chris Henderson, legendary U.S. men's national team player. He's sporting director of the Seattle Sounders. I had played A-League with his brother, and we had briefly known each other. And he comes up to me and he starts chatting me up before the game. And he goes, you thought about what you want to do after soccer? And I'm 29 years old. And I said, after soccer? What? No. And he goes, they're not really. He's like, well, what do you think you'd like to do? I was like, honestly? And he goes, yeah. I said, what you do? I'd love to be part of a
franchise and be involved in the roster makeup of said franchise, this and that. And he goes, okay, well, I'll tell you what, in your off season, if you ever want to come to Seattle, he goes, we'll put you up and you can come shadow me around. And I thought it was the coolest thing like ever. Wow. And that kind of stuck with me. And that's what I want to do. And fast forward to my MLS latter years, I'm in Toronto, and we go play in our first ever playoff game for Toronto against the Montreal Impact. We lose 3-0. But it's the first time Toronto ever made it to the playoffs, so there's excitement, and it's brewing, I remember getting a phone call from MLS Digital, the Doyles, the Weebies of the world, those guys, and they're like, hey, this weekend we're doing this whole MLS playoff, show. Would you like to come on down? We'll fly you and your wife down, and you can come help us out with it. And I said, yeah, all right. My wife said, go do it. It's a free trip to New York. You get to do something new. Let's go try it. So did it. I had a lot of fun with it, and because of that MLS kind of playoff day studio show that I did, there was a producer at Fox, Shaw Brown, and Shaw saw it, and I believe Stu Holden was dabbling with Fox at the time. He was still between being an active player and dabbling with them, coming out in and out of retirement and such not. And he had spoken to Shaw Brown about me, that I helped him with a little bit of research for the Mexico-U.S. CONCACAF playoff final that they had in L.A. And he calls me and he asks me what my thoughts were about life after soccer, this and that. And then he goes, could you come down to L.A.? And this is now my off season. I'm in Torreon with my wife in Mexico, and he's like, "Come down to L.A. Relatively soon and meet with an executive here at Fox named David Neal." And I said, "Well, I'm going to be in L.A. anyways around this time." He's like, "Cool. Yeah. We'll hook you up with this secretary. Set up a meeting. Da 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 da." Long story short, I walked in. It was short. It was 15 minutes. We start talking. He starts asking me about life. He's asking me about soccer, and he goes, "Okay, I want you to work Copa America." And I said, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Just like that, huh?
I was like, I can't. And he's like, "Why not?" I was like, "Well, because I'm an active professional. I'm going to be in Seattle actually training, working." And he goes, "Well, all right. How about this? You guys he looks at his schedule, like a board with the calendar, and he goes, "You guys have like a 9-10 day break in Major League Soccer. Would you want to come work those dates here at Fox as part of the show?" I said, "Sure." Got it going. Came down, worked with Fox for that Copa America, and it was one of the craziest moments because it happened where I called a game with Mark Followell, and it was Panama, Bolivia that I called, and they were playing in Seattle, and I thought I did fine for my first game. And the next day I did the studio show for Fox, and it was Mexico, Uruguay played and things like that, and David Neal comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, I need to talk to you." And he goes, "Listen, you're supposed to be calling a game later on this week, another game." He goes, "You're no longer going to do that." And the first thing that pops into my mind is, damn, I was that bad? I fucked up. This is cold-blooded. Yeah. You're going to stay here on the desk from now on in the studio. And I just nodded yes. And he goes, "Do you understand what's happening?" And I just nodded, yeah. And he goes, "Okay, sounds good." And after, Shaw Brown comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, congratulations." I said, why am I not calling the game? And he goes, No. Hold on. You don't want to call that game. You want to be here in the studio. This is a good thing.
They're showing you the ins and outs of the industry, basically. They're showing you what's what.
Because, I think I was like fourth TV commentator or game day commentator crew to go to studio, which is like a big deal for him, and he made me see it that way, and I did the rest of the week in studio, and the last day of, I think second to last day, he comes up to me again and he tells me, "Don't go back to Seattle, retire right now, I'll hire you right now." And wow. Yeah, and listen, I had signed with Seattle a minimum contract, and I knew that it's going to be my last year pretty much. But I didn't want to go out like that, so I said, "No, I can't." I appreciate it. Maybe in the future we can have a dialogue about my future and whatnot. And it ended up where they called me afterwards and they're like, "Hey, we want you to come down for FIFA fixture dates. We'll pay you for those weekends. MLS isn't going on, and even if it is, you're on a minimum contract. Why don't you ask Seattle if they'd let you do it? Spoke to Garth Lagerwey, and he was awesome about it. He understood. I mean, I took a huge pay cut to plan a minimum salary to just finish the season out and to help Seattle. And he was like, yeah, no problem. They knew what it was about. So I would go as an active player with the Sounders for FIFA fixture dates with the U.S. men's national team. And from there, it happened to turn into an opportunity full-time with Fox. And then ESPN kind of came. It was Univision and ESPN kind of came in, and then I had options, and it was just choosing what was best for me.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, I really like your the Spanish content you're putting out. But personally, I think I like it. I mean, I saw the Chicharito chat you guys had with him. I thought that was really dope. I really like that content. So I mean,
why to add to that? I feel because it's relatable. I feel like it's like one of us being in there having that conversation.
Matters, homie.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And you guys are relevant, right? Like I used to watch Fútbol Picante a lot, but those guys are like they're skewed older, they talk older, and it's just like okay, I'm done with you guys after about 10 minutes, right? Like your show.
Why do you think I do Picante as well? They're trying to get that demo down, man.
Right? Makes sense.
The mindset is what you're talking about, yeah.
Again, right? Thanks for giving us. You kind of went through your whole career and
that journey's insane.
Career. Yeah, it is insane. It's funny because I kind of we're doing a little bit of research. We don't do a lot of research, so don't expect a lot of research. But we did some, right? and I was looking, I was like, yo, my man, you said it right. You're a nomad. You went around different clubs, but it gives you that experience, right? You also talked about you had a bunch of smaller coaching jobs, right? As in your early career, was that ever in your plans to like go into like more professional coaching?
No. I actually, you guys have heard about this team, the Las Vegas Lights?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got offered
went to a game last year actually.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I got offered which makes sense. It's honestly, Vegas is a great sporting city now, and who doesn't want to go watch their team play in Vegas? It's like you win no matter what. You get to see your team, you get to see sport, and you get to experience Vegas. Yeah.
Well, look, we travel a lot for Galaxy. Like we just about it. Right. I think collectively as a whole, we probably hit every single away game last year. Yeah. We were hoping that MLS would give Vegas one of those seats, just because that's another one that we can travel to. I mean, we're in LA, right? So we have to fly everywhere.
Without, I mean, I don't want to get into it really, a lot, but there's nothing happens by accident when it comes to these multi-billion-dollar corporations, and I'm talking about teams, I'm talking about these owners, I'm talking about the leagues, and where they place said events. There's a reason Leagues Cup was in Vegas, so that's very telling. But yeah, listen, this team, the Las Vegas Lights, the owner reached out to me, and he's like, I want you to be our first coach. And what do you think? And I was very, very flattered, and I said, I really appreciate it, but I don't want to coach. That's not my thing. I do, however, would love to one day go into management ranks and something of that court.
Okay.
Yeah. But we had a brief conversation, and I've been offered coaching jobs before, but it's not for me, man. And I'm this might be my ego and whatnot, but I've played for way too many bad coaches, and I don't want to be one of those bad coaches. Not all these coaches that I've had with are good experiences, and a coach is never going to have everybody on his team enjoy what he or she brings to the table. Yep. It's a very ungrateful job, and I just don't want it.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for recapping all that. We do have questions that we want to get into before
we have to cut out. We got time.
We could do this.
All right.
We could do this kind of rapid fire, so you don't have to elaborate too much. But let's start. Right. This is it comes straight from social media from our audience. Who should get the next LA Galaxy statue, in your opinion?
The first should have gone to Landon Donovan.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Really?
Oh, okay.
You're going to get Angel hyped up. Okay.
Nobody in California has done more for the sport, for the Galaxy, than Landon Donovan. I love what LA does, by the way. They're one of the few clubs within Major League Soccer and the clubs that I've played for abroad in Mexico that likes to keep their alumni tied in.
Are you saying that now because you're on the podcast?
No. I'm being honest. Listen, man, I will never shy away from a question, never shy away from telling you the truth. Yeah. There are some bad clubs out there in Major League Soccer and abroad when it comes to dealing with the press, when it comes to dealing with fans, when it comes to addressing issues, LA's always been fine. The Galaxy have always been fine. The people at LA, Dan Kennedy, Chris Klein, Vicky, Brandon, they've been awesome anytime we need anything media-wise or anytime they should include former players like alumni in any type of event. They've always invited me. They've always been extremely, extremely helpful and forthcoming, which is not the case in Major League Soccer a lot of times. There are a lot of clubs, man, that I'd love to just shake and be like, what are you doing? Why are you alienating people like this? Like, what do you just think for a second?
What do you think the mindset is behind that? Like a smaller club, I wouldn't say smaller because we're all in the same league, but why don't you think I'm just saying a random club. The Torontos, the Kansas City, the Colorados, why aren't they at that? Why don't they see that? So, understanding that being inviting it.
The other clubs that does, along with the Galaxy. But I'll give you an example of a big team within theory and on a world scale is New York City FC. They have Manchester City Group, and they bring those people in the front office from other places, and they're used to dealing with the media in a different way, and I'm sure with fans in a different way, and it's very standoffish. It's not very side by side, hand by hand. And help each other and listen, they'd have their reasons because I'm sure the English media is a lot more critical than the media here. But it doesn't make sense to me why a team like the Galaxy, who's arguably the biggest team in the league for their history, it's you talk to DC and they'd say, well, we got some stars as well, and we've got some big international attorneys as well. But what I'm trying to say,
listen, 9 MLS Cups. 4 of them lost, 5 of them won, 9 Western Conference titles. We could keep going, right? That to me is.
Yo, come on, hold on. I want to get into things in this, but go ahead.
No, that's fine. But this is my job as part of the press. Like, listen,
of course,
for the Galaxy doesn't mean I'm going to go homer for the Galaxy. I hate people like that. I hate people who are like, it's predictable. You know where they're coming from. Like that to me you're doing a disservice and an injustice to your own team as well. So if I was a homer for you guys all the time, why would you listen to what I have to say when I had something to say about something else? You're like, that guy only knows about the Galaxy. Does he really even know about the Galaxy? He's just trying to tell us what we want to hear. You're never going to hear me say that, man. And people have a problem with that. Not just the Galaxy. LAFC fans think I'm a Galaxy, homer. And then U.S. men's national team fans think I'm a Mexico homer. And the Mexico fans, they hate me because I'm a traitor. They think I'm a U.S. men's national team. So you're never going to please everybody. But really quickly about the Galaxy, they do a great job of keeping their history relevant, of tying their history back to the present. And that's something that I wish more teams would do. They have nights where they honor their 2002 team, where they honor their 2011 team. They have nights where they bring players back for a cocktail hour with fans. And, they do such a great job of tying their history back. And they have players who meant something to the club in the organization in important roles. That is important, especially nowadays where this game is, and you can say what you want about it, but getting so internationalized at the domestic level where others' opinions hold more value than current set opinions. And listen, you can argue what you want about that, but it's important to have those values from the past, those people from the past who can help you, build to the future.
Well, listen, to circle back, right? The question was, who should get the next statue?
Oh, yeah.
That's what we started.
He said Landon.
No,
Landon. No doubt about it. And I don't even know how this is a question. David's the most important signing this league's ever had. Ever. There's not a question about that. But when you're talking about a team, like MLS should have given him a statue. When you're talking about a team,
and that we agree 100%.
Yeah, the Galaxy, it's got to be Landon Donovan. Look at everything he's done for Southern
We've been
California.
on here saying that David Beckham statue should have been at MLS headquarters, which I completely agree with.
Yeah.
Listen,
and adding to that actually was brought up when that statue came up. That was a question that was asked to us because that's obviously we were in season, and that was a question, and we had a lengthy conversation about that topic, and we argued the same exact thing. Yeah. Beckham, look, we understand what he did. Thankful for the championships, all that stuff, but we're talking about Galaxy. We made a list of other players that should have came before Beckham. However, we understand why Beckham was the first. The media attention that was going to get internationally.
Right.
from that perspective, genius from the Galaxy. Genius.
Yeah.
But as a fan, is a fan in us, it's a different.
It's
but
a
we have to
business too,
understand.
though, man.
Galaxy,
I argue
exactly.
that, but we had the argument. It's a business too. You know what I mean? Like you have to understand, like it's a business too, right? And
Let
especially,
me ask you guys a question.
Yep.
Let me ask you guys a
oh,
question.
you're flipping the table. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he does, man.
Galaxy has been the flagship team for Major League Soccer for almost its entire history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Should not the flagship team have a better stadium right now?
Listen, I don't. I can see why you say that, right? But when the stadium was built, it was
A representation of what Los Angeles is.
Listen.
Okay, enlighten me. Enlighten me.
What do you mean by
better
that?
to you? What do you mean by better?
Because you look at
Do you know how difficult it is to get to Carson for some people? And that easily alone has made them turn to LAFC and say, well, you know what? It's easier for me and my family to get to LAFC.
No,
It's more
But
accessible.
you see where you're wrong with
See,
that.
yeah.
There's so many. Since you brought that up, there's so many LAFC fans that are coming from Orange County, that are coming from Long
Santa
Beach,
Monica.
or that are going from other parts. That it's the same type of distance. So the argument there, it's dumb. The whole
And if you're an Angelino,
Let me ask you a
yeah.
question. Let
If
me
you're
ask you a question. Why aren't the last 2 seasons with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, one of the biggest stars this league's ever had, why is it that the LA Galaxy had trouble filling up the stadium then?
but that's not accurate though.
Why not? I called games there. I've called games there.
Yeah,
and,
listen,
and I can tell you what I see.
Listen, we're all season ticket holders, right? And we're all there every single game. And you go midweek games, you're right, 100%, right? And I get that because midweek game on the 405, yeah, fuck that, right?
Anywhere in Los Angeles.
But on the weekends though, like, listen, we're every single game 23, 24K, right? With Zlatan there. Even on the shitty season, the 2017 season, 2016 season, we're averaging 20K. Like, and you're talking about this is Carson, right? Like,
I'm telling you, Carson is difficult for people to get to. And I don't care if you're a diehard Galaxy fan, that is something that people have to acknowledge. And also, I love what the Galaxy have done. I love how they're one of the few teams that continue to push the envelope. Because you look at the league's biggest signings ever, their majority are with the LA Galaxy. It's just the truth. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
But when you look at that stadium now, and you go over to the neighbor that's in the same city as you, it feels dated. Have you guys been? been to the new stadium?
Yeah.
See,
I don't agree with that at all.
and look, that's my neighborhood. I grew up right there. I grew up in South Central. That
Right.
stadium, honestly, all it is, it's just that. It's that, and on top of that, it's very plasticky.
Yeah, listen,
Compared to our
this is,
Okay.
and it's hard not to be biased, right? Because I'm a Galaxy fan. But
Yeah,
like
of course.
that stadium feels like a giant Lego set. You know what I mean? Where everything would just kind of plot it together, right? Like, and you got to go.
I don't
You just
think
pick up
it's
the
that
pieces.
either.
you
I think that's Avaya Stadium. Avaya Stadium is more Lego set.
I feel the well. Listen, I feel the same way about the stank. I mean the bank. You know what I mean? It feels like a giant Lego piece, like Lego set, right? But you know, here.
That's what I do love about you guys, though. You guys in LAFC have made it interesting. I tell you what, this is what Chivas USA never understood. This is what Chivas USA never achieved, and I'm happy that LAFC is here because of what this rivalry has become. If you ask me what the best rivalry in Major League Soccer is, it's Seattle-Portland. But what we've experienced the last 2 years with El Tráfico, which is a trash name, by the way, but what we've experienced the last years with LAFC, LA Galaxy, is nothing short of unbelievable. Honestly, it's been a lot of fun to call, and even to be unbiased and from afar and just be like, I don't care who wins. Look at what's going on. It's Carlos Vela versus Zlatan. And by the way, that in itself is something that was insane that took this rivalry to another level.
But here's what we differ on this, right? Because to us, at least us three, and a lot of like maybe truthers or whatever, this is all marketing, right? It's marketed in a certain
100%.
way where it exposes that way, and it's shiny and it's new.
But
and
that's sports.
yeah, but see, like for us,
it works for a lot of fans, right? Of course,
But
yeah. I'm not going
for
to
us,
deny
like,
that. Of course.
the game we look forward to, the game we're hyped about and we're angry about and we're ready for is San Jose every single year, right? Like for us truthers, because that just means something to us. With these guys, they have a lot to prove. They have to work to get to us. You know what I mean? Like so, like to us, it's just
Yeah, they have to work to get to your level, to get to your historical level, but come on, man. Nobody cares about San Jose. You truthers may have history on that, but not today. San Jose isn't relevant in San Jose right now. That's the truth.
No, listen.
Why should they be relevant?
That's different, though.
And I hear you.
Right, and we're talking about from a supporter's perspective. That's what we're talking about from a being perspective, being invested from a long.
I understand a support, but what's more important to Red Bulls? Is it DC United or is it New York City FC?
Again,
but Red Bulls also doesn't have championships and doesn't have it's
no. But I get where you're going, right? And of course, listen again. If you're gonna for the masses, 100%, and that's why I understand this tropical thing, right? This LAFC, LA Galaxy, right. And why you guys are, most of the people are at their heels when they go on social media talking about this, right? And I get that because listen, it's presented to you in that way, right? Like MLS does this thing where like rivalry weekend is just like in your face, Heineken presents whatever, right? Like, I get it. Like
it's not that it's. Let me interject real quickly because I have no dog in this fight. I could care, but from an outsider's perspective, it's not that it's so much presented that way. But look at the biggest stars. Galaxy, LAFC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at the stadiums. Okay. Look at the proximity where you guys are at.
I thought you said our stadium was ugly.
You still have a
kidding.
You still have a stadium. It's not what I'm trying to say. It's not New England, and they're not playing at Gillette. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I get it, man. Just give me a hard time.
No. I understand what you said, but it's not also like how it's presented or how it's sold. It is what it is. I mean, San Jose, what's their biggest star right now? Their coach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Look, I get that. Like, what I'm, I guess our point is that there's a historical value to that, right? And which I like. It bothers me because when these guys go up to San Jose, where the Galaxy goes up to San Jose, it's just like a regular game for them. Whereas prior years when you had like a core,
that's where I will agree with you. But you're one of these truthers that you're talking about, and you include yourself in. These are very few of the people that actually recognize MLS's history because most will just tell you, you're 25 years old, what history? But you actually lived through it.
Yeah.
So you have honest record.
For example, I vividly remember the very first MLS Cup that I remember vividly was that 2005 game. I know exactly where I was. I was up in the Hollywood Hills. My mom used to be the caretaker, the house taker of some musician's house. They put me in the kitchen, go watch your game. I saw it in the kitchen, this tiny ass TV. Vivid. So all these things I remember. So all this history stuff, and I still remember things like moments, right? In terms of entire game, I remember vividly. But then I remember a bunch of moments before that. I remember Landon Donovan scoring on LA Galaxy. I remember all these things, right? The D-Roll stuff. I remember all these things, and the historical stuff that we've had with San Jose, with them leaving to Houston, and then all of a sudden there's a new team that wants to claim these 2 stars. All these things, I remember that stuff. So to me, of course, we talk about, and this is what Rudy's referring to, us, I guess you say old timers or guys that have been there since the beginning. San Jose is our rival. Yeah. Right. And that's not going to change. Obviously, the fact what's
the percentage of people that you think come to the Galaxy Stadium of truthers and newbies, would you say?
Well, see, like it's not fair to ask
I think that's kind of hard because everyone's around us. The people that we talk to, truthers are the same people that we talk to.
Listen, we're all part of the Angel City Brigade, right? So we're the support group that's behind the goal, and most of our tiny group, like we all have the same mindset. But I also understand like everybody else who came into the league, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever.
Well, even 2 years ago with Zlatan, there's a bunch of new people that jumped on the Galaxy bandwagon because Zlatan. We get it, and we're not blind to this. We're not naive to this. We understand that we aim to bring the biggest players. Beckham brought a whole bunch of new players. Then Gio, quote unquote, brought new players, and then Zlatan brought new players. Gerrard brought players. Fans. Because because of the respective historical things that they had with their respective teams in the past. Whether it's Liverpool, Zlatan's trajectory, everywhere he's been. We understand that. This is LA. That's not going to change, right? But it's just something that we still try to instill in people. Hey, you need to understand your history. San Jose is this long-time rival. We understand. Look, we're also not naive that LAFC is going to be a thing. It's starting to be a thing. We acknowledge it this year for sure.
For the league, it has to be a thing.
As of last year, we really acknowledge it because we finally had a playoff game. We had things that really meant stuff.
It's a rivalry. Yeah. And you know what? And I was happy that we were just winning, but it wasn't like Chivas USA winning, right? Like it was just a cake, right? We had won and we had got the results, but it was always like a game, and that's good,
right?
That I'm not going to complain about. I like it. You know what I mean?
No, I understand what you guys are saying. This is exactly the reason why when people talk best rivalry in Major League Soccer, I go back to Seattle, Portland because of the history. They've been around playing since the 70s.
70s, right? Yeah.
And you say that when in this LAFC, LA Galaxy thing, you don't have a horse in the race. for a lot of fans, seeing from the outside in, seeing your tweets, seeing everything you put out, do you understand why it's hard for Galaxy fans to try to believe that? Do you understand where that comes from?
Yeah, I mean, I do because I played for the Galaxy, right? But
so yeah, exactly.
But I played for 11 other teams as well.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, 100%.
I can't cheer for 12.
I don't necessarily feel that it's because
for 12 teams while I work for the greatest sporting company in the world. You know, that's not my job anymore. I treat it the same way as I was a player. Once I put that jersey on, I will die for that team. I will play everything I need to play and say everything I need to say for that team. But I'm no longer on the Galaxy. If anything, I need to be as impartial as I can. And I told you, it's the same thing with LAFC fans. They think I'm a Galaxy homer. Like, they think I'm unbiased towards them. Just the same way U.S. men's national team and Mexico fans feel I'm unbiased towards each one of them. It's crazy to me, funny to me, but it doesn't bother me. This comes with a job. And listen, there are people in this industry who will say things for effect, cause and effect. Okay?
Right,
you guys can decipher who those are for themselves. Okay?
Yep.
I'm not one of those people. If I think the Galaxy is a better team, I will say it. If I think LAFC is a better team, I will say it. I will tell you my experiences. And I shared an experience, and this is actually funny in a way. I shared my experience on FC about how, listen, I work in downtown. I live in Pasadena. In here in LA, in my circles where I roam, I see more LAFC gear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys spoke about that marketing. They've done a ridiculous job with their guerrilla marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't circulate the places where LA Galaxy has done theirs. So I spoke on what I lived through, right? I go, I think, the following week. By the way, I said all this, and then I said in the same segment, but all that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter unless LAFC can prove it on the field, and they have not been able to do it.
I know what segment you're talking about. Yeah, I saw it, and I read it.
And I said they've not been able to do it yet. LA Galaxy still owns them. Like those exact words almost, right? Uh-huh. Next week, LAFC pumps out that LAFC runs LA off of my quotes from FC and leaves out the LA Galaxy have proven it on the field. LAFC is not type, right? Whatever. Right. It's fair. It's on air. People will manipulate the words any way they want. Doesn't bother me. It comes with the territory. I go and I interview Zlatan the next week for Sports Center, like domestic.
I remember I saw the video and you mentioned it to him at the very end. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I had 2 interviews with him. One was in English for Sports Center. One was in Spanish for my show, Ahora Nunca. And he walks in and, you know, Zlatan is Zlatan. He doesn't look me in the eyes. He gives out the hand. He just kind of shakes my hand and he goes, "What's this for?" And I said, well, the first interview is going to be for Sports Center in English. And he goes, "English, Sports Center, American Sports Center." I said, "Yes." And he goes, "The second one?" I said, "Spanish, and it's Latin America." He says, "Okay." And he kind of like.
That sounds like him.
Yeah. And he takes a seat and he's like lounging and he's doing his thing and he's looking at me all angry. And I'm like, it already feels tense. Mm-hmm. And I'm having this interview with them. And I did like about 10 minutes. And 2 of the minutes were usable. Because the rest of the time he was like short and whatever, and he can give a shit, and he was saying like he wasn't giving me much. And I remember saying, you know, back when I played for the Galaxy, we trained at the Rose Bowl on a baseball field, and our best player was a Guatemalan by the name of Carlos Ruiz. Today, the Galaxy's best player, you know, is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and he cuts me off before I finish saying his name, and he goes, "MLS's best player." I said, "Okay, you say you're Major League Soccer's best player, but in the same city, there's a player who has more goals and more assists, and his team's leading the league right now, and his name's Carlos Vela." And that's what that famous quote is, and he starts getting angry. Where did Carlos Vela play at this age and this and that, which has nothing to do about who's better at the moment. But he started kind of getting aggravated with me, and it set the tone for the rest of the interview, right? Afterwards, he accused me of being an LAFC fan. And I was like, dude, like he had no idea I'd played for the Galaxy. He had no idea that I'd won titles for the Galaxy. He can give 2 shits, honestly. And honestly, it probably doesn't mean 2 shits to anybody. But I was like, seriously? Like, what's going on here? And he was really, it was really strange. Go on to the next interview in Spanish, and it was like, and he starts joking with me. He starts joking with us, and he starts around, and he starts having like great banter. He's unbelievable on air. He's sharing stories, and I'm thinking to myself,
What the
fuck just happened? Zlatan is cause and effect, right? He knows what's gonna get, like he knows how to get people the message across to people.
Right.
And in that moment, he wanted to make it personal with Carlos Vela, and he used me. At that moment, he wanted to draw a line in the sand and say Zlatan is the league's best player ever, this and that. Like, I realized how calculated and how intelligent Zlatan was. It was amazing. But so the same thing, people can think what they want about how the message is being sent out, but some of this stuff is cause and effect, and others is not.
Well, listen, let's the last question was that, right? Like people take you as your LAFC bias, right? And I hear your points. I hear your points. But last year there was a lot of talk of LAFC being the best team in the history of MLS.
Not by me.
Right?
My best MLS team history in MLS is Toronto.
Okay, listen.
So that Jovinko's team.
I'm sorry.
Jovinko's team.
That's right. The treble.
Yep.
Yeah.
But here it is, right? Like, and it's coming from the company you work for. ESPN was big on this, talking about they're the best, best team in history. I know Ale Moreno said that. A bunch of people said that, right? And that's my problem, right? Because a lot of people are crowning them way before. And listen, and maybe you didn't say the best team ever, but you're a big proponent of saying, elevating them for
Rudy,
for whatever it was.
They set a record for points in a season.
Yeah.
It's very difficult not to give them their props when they set a record for points in a season. They got a player who scored 34 goals, 15 assists. I mean, they were one of the best defensive teams. Listen, they shot the bet against you guys. They shot the bet against Seattle. They shot the bet a lot of times when they shouldn't have. But regular season-wise, I mean, the numbers are there for Alejandro Moreno, whoever else, to say, like, this is the team to beat right now.
But what's the narrative when they lose, though? So my thing is, when the narrative is when they lose, it kind of shies away. Everyone kind of turns the cheek, and they don't say much. But when they're on the high horse, everyone
we crushed. I don't know if you guys watch our segments at ESPN TV, but we crushed LAFC like to no end. That when that happened versus Seattle, I called the game for Deportes. I call MLS games for Deportes. When that happened against Seattle. Do you guys remember what happened right after that? What was it? The LAFC Galaxy game. Right after that game, Sebastian Salazar and Bob Bradley had this moment where Sebastian
got pissed.
And Bob Bradley, like ESPN FC went to town on LAFC and Bob Bradley. And the next game they lose to Seattle. I mean, it was vicious. And that's where. Listen, we do lots of stuff, and lots of stuff is seen and not seen.
Yeah.
But I can tell you from working with these guys, Alejandro Moreno's played for the Galaxy. He's won championships for the Galaxy. Alejandro Moreno's a tough guy, but by no means is he a biased guy and says, you know what, just because I want to, the team that I used to play for, I'm going to bury them right now because it sounds like fun. That nobody goes into it thinking that way.
Well, see,
you know what I mean?
Well, it also depends how you see, right?
Yeah.
For me,
so now our thing with that, hold up, because with the whole Bob Bradley thing, how different would the narrative would have been if that would have been a Galaxy coach responding like that to an analyst? How different would that narrative be? I saw that interview maybe twice, and
if Bob Bradley or a Galaxy coach, Bob Bradley's always going to get the headlines. I'll tell you that. Guillermo Barros Escoloto handling it that way wouldn't get the headlines like Bob Bradley handled it that way, and it has nothing to do with the Galaxy or LAFC.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. I didn't see that. I didn't see that narrative being pushed out by anybody saying, look at the way that this coach is treating an analyst. And I think if the tables would have been turned,
you got to go back to FC.
It would have been much different.
Craig Burley and those guys went to town, and listen, I know Bob personally. I know him very well.
He was your coach in 2010.
Right, and it was handled wrong by a lot of people, but not everybody was as understanding as I was. And those guys at FC, they went to town, bro.
And I think you made a great point, right? Like, we're interested when it is Galaxy related. Like, we're interested, right? Because anytime you guys say, look at the crosstown team, or listen, the fucking, I get it, like the Carson jabs, like those irk me. You know what I mean? Like.
And I don't care. Like, but you see, this is what I'm getting at. Like, it depends, right? Because the majority of the Galaxy fan base, they get pissed off about it.
My commute was awesome.
Yeah. All right, listen. Let's wrap this up because I know you got shit to do. Give me the one thing that irks you about the MLS that you would change today.
Not so much MLS, but I think American soccer as a whole, and I will include not just when I say American soccer, I don't mean U.S. men's national team. I mean here in America, here in the States, whether it's Chicano, whether it's second, third generation of any heritage, whatever it may be, we are insecure when it comes to our game. And Major League Soccer is a prime example of that. I think sometimes we need to just be proud of where this league is and how far it's come, and not try to compare ourselves. And this goes for U.S. men's national team.
Hell yeah,
yeah. We don't need to compare ourselves with Europe. We don't need to compare ourselves with the best teams in the world. We don't need to always reference Juegos Moleros when we talk about the Mexican national team games in the States. We don't need to always have a problem with everything we hear. It's okay, man. It's 25 years. Yeah. I remember when this league was contracting teams. Contracting, bro. You went from 12 to 10. The uncertainty. Yeah. And look where it is now. And look, for a team, I don't care if it's the Galaxy, to be 25 years in and still push the envelope like that, you don't have to compare yourself with LAFC because you said it. They're 2 years in. They're not on your level.
Exactly.
Right? Same thing. There are teams, and you want to compare yourself to San Jose. San Jose's lost that footing. You want to compare, DC arguably has the titles and they've got the numbers, but they've lost that footing as well. So if anything, I'd be happy about who's been running things, so to speak, in this league for quite a while. Now, if you get criticism in these 2 years, take it for what it is. You know what I mean?
A lot of times it's deservingly so, though. Yeah, and I agree with you. A lot of times it's deservingly so. Like
we're the first to criticize.
2017.
Look, that's one thing with this podcast a lot. We give our team a lot of shit. It's not like we're here fucking. As a matter of fact, when our team does bad, we put better content out than when the team does well, and we understand that 100%.
But I think this is where the national media. This is where that narrative of who's running in LA comes from, like who's the top dog in LA comes from, because everybody's so used to seeing LA as top dog, and all of a sudden you get a brand new toy in LAFC, brand new stadium, ex-U.S. men's national team coach, celebrity ownership, Carlos Vela. You get all these
logo all over the city.
Yeah. Yep. The logo, being guerrilla marketed, the colors, all these millennials who probably are new to soccer or are new to whatever, they're jumping on this bandwagon, and it's hip, it's swag, and it's like
it's LA. It's fucking, it's shiny. You're like, oh yeah,
oh my god, you know how LA is, man. Yeah. You guys have seen
100%.
You guys see what it is: the Clippers, Lakers, Dodgers, Angels. Yep. It's the way it is, so it's natural.
Yeah. Listen, I never doubted that. And the one credit I'll give LAFC is their rollout was what it needed to be for him to catch on the way it did. So I'll give him that much. They still have to win cups to even talk to us when in the soccer level. But
can I add real quick before we go? Let's do five real quick minutes, and then I'll bounce because I need to bounce. But she started getting this dialogue going on because there we go.
We lost Angel, but it's fine. It's fine. He'll come back.
Keep going. You're good.
So we started getting a dialogue going on when I said that Chicharito wouldn't score as many goals this season. Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
And that's how this all started. And you're crazy. Fans called me crazy. And I said, listen, I will tell you why Chicharito won't score as many goals this year. It's the service. And then I started getting Katai and Leggett and Christian Pavon. What are you talking about? And then Jonathan Dos Santos. And look, you got Sasha Klesha now. You got Joe Buddy Corona as well. Things are said, and they have substance and research behind them. And I'll tell you, I identify – not on Chicharito's level, but identify with the type of forward he is. And oftentimes you rely on service. You live and die by service. Chicharito has 2 games this year. How many chances has he missed?
100%. Listen,
he's 0. Do you want to know why?
Because he hasn't had a chance.
He hasn't had a chance.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, so
I've been a record saying that.
I was really hyped about Chicharito, right? Because I hated Zlatan ball. It's Zlatan ball just kind of like I like good soccer. You know what I mean? I like pretty football, right? So I hated Zlatan ball because it was just get wide, cross it in, right? And I figured with Chicharito, like he's a guy who's gonna make runs for you. He's gonna cut in, cut out, open up space for other players, right? So I expected our football to change, our soccer to change.
See, exactly. But our soccer has to change, and it hasn't.
And that's the big problem, right?
Yeah.
I figured preseason we're gonna change it up. It's gonna be different runs. Pavon pulling people, you got Katai pulling people, and then you get space for Chicharito. Where the fuck is everything? Like that's what's mind blowing to me.
Your team has it's better defensively. I'll be honest, and they're going to be better defensively.
we're trying to play GBS ball, and Zlatan was the reason we couldn't play that, and we thought by adding someone that makes those runs, GBS ball is going to be perfected. We're going to do what we want. It's not happening. The service isn't there. But I don't specifically remember the tweet that you and I started going back and forth, and then that's how we started communicating. But it was with that narrative, and it's funny because I come on this pod and I say there's no chemistry. We're not going to have chemistry going in. I 100% agree with what you're saying, but I think the way that you push it out, you did it right. You did it right. You caught the attention, and then you and I started going back and forth about it.
You know what I think it was? I think it was an interview I did with Extra Time Radio on MLS, and I said I don't see him scoring many goals. And I was like, if you look at that midfield, and I said Alexander Katai, Sebastian Lletget, Jonathan Dos Santos, Sasha Kleshtin. These are all players who are great on a 77 field. These are all players who are great with a forward who can play with his back to goal, who has the ability to combine in the final third. Christian Pavone, to me, is the only guy that has the ability to get past somebody 1v1. And Chicharito is people don't understand this. He's very good in the air. His anticipation is second to none. His movement is world class. Yep. Like, this is a guy who played at United and Real Madrid, but he's not great with his back to goal, and he's not the best at combining in the final third. He is a finisher. He is last touch, one touch in the net. He's not the guy who's going to create. And against Houston, and I spoke to Tab Ramos about this. Tab said, we wanted to force him to play back to goal in his half, so he's trying to create. So his ball's getting played to him, and then somebody's been sprung, and we don't worry about him so much because he's so far behind the goal now. He's so far away from the goal. We want to make sure we limit him because we know how dangerous he is. Mm-hmm. They're cutting out and putting that fire out before it starts, and teams are going to do this. The Galaxy will be a better team because Zlatan didn't want to defend. He walked around. He yelled at his teammates, 90% of the game, blah, 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 blah. Zlatan was magic when he had the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And when he wanted to.
Yeah, sure.
See, and that's where philosophies change, right? Like, I understand really 100% that we want to play better soccer, and we've been on this pod, and I've been on this pod actually on your side of the things that I think Chicharito is going to be subpar. If anything, he's barely going to get to double digits in goals. Everyone knows this. People gave me shit earlier. Well, it's not. No, and I made the argument. It's the same exact argument that it's not his fault. We don't have the team, and I'm not going to get into details. People who have been listening to our podcast know this, but I'm agreeing with you 100%. The one thing I don't agree with Rudy, and this is an ongoing thing. Like, as much I would love to play soccer, I want to win more. Yeah. So if that means we're going to play Zlatan ball and just get a better defense, amplify, make sure our defense is better. And we're not gonna concede 5 goals a game, 4 goals a game, average 1 goal a game. But we have Zlatan who's gonna find a way to score 3 goals. I'm okay with that. I just want to win. I don't care if it's pretty, if it's ugly. It's finding a way to win.
Let me take it back to the Houston game, right? I think if Chicharito does what he did for that goal, which was pull the defense and give the alley for Pavone to take that shot, like
I'll take that.
Like, I'm gonna take that, right? Because listen, you get put Chicharito in that position where everybody knows he can make a run inside the box. So you're going to have to pull 1 or 2 defenders on him, and you give space to Pavone to take a shot because Pavone's going to cut in and take that shot every single time you get to him, right?
Listen, that guy's special.
Yeah, Pavone is special, and if he can score double-digit goals and double-digit assists, and let's say he's the man and he's got more goals than Chicharito, I think you guys will be fine. Yeah. I think Chicharito's going to do a lot more for you guys that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. But you got to remember, this is a new process, a new team. Guillermo finally gets to play the way he wants. Yeah. You're 2 games in. You're 2 games in.
I know, man. That's the thing.
It's not the end of the world. I don't think Chicharito's gonna be the goal scorer that we all think he's gonna be and fight for a golden boot. But it doesn't mean he's not gonna be a good player for you guys. And listen, Chicharito said it best. He's like, I'm not here to fill Zlatan's shoes. And I was like, well, how will this season be successful for you if you're not scoring goals? Lifting a title. Yep. And he's absolutely right. And that's exactly what Angel's saying right now. I don't care how they play. I want them to win. Well, that's the ultimate win right there is the title.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Herculez, gracias. Thank you
so much, man.
Can I ask you one question, though? Last one. Do you think the Galaxy Stadium is ugly?
Ugly? No, I think it's dated. I think it's dated. And I tell you, that's probably the little corner they put me in when they go call the game. You know what? I tell you what, I need to talk to the Galaxy because I was part of that 2002 team, and last time I walked by, I didn't see my name on that plaque, and I was like, "Ouch, what's going on?"
See what happens? You take digs.
I bring it up
because we'll make it happen.
No, listen, when you go up, when you enter main entrance, the beautiful palm trees, gorgeous. To me, it's like going into heaven.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, man, I had a lot of good memories there, man. A lot of good friends still there.
Hey, Herculez, otra vez, gracias. Thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much,
for
brother.
everything, and we'll catch you soon, man. Gracias.
Have a good one.
Be safe out there, man.
Thank you.
Take care. Likewise.
Later.
All right, man. Here we go. What you guys? What? Like, listen, it's crazy. Like I was bugging now when he was talking about like how much money he made in his early part of the career.
Yeah.
Crazy,
I was.
right?
Well,
Hold up. Going into this conversation, I felt a little better just because of the MERS conversation that he had with Alexi Lala.
Same.
So that kind of put a little bit into perspective, and I was like, cool. And I've had conversations with
wait,
her
of the
back
what,
and
sorry?
forth.
with
the
Merce and
Alexi
Lala
Lala?
story.
Oh, okay.
And if you guys haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that because that's
I've been going back and forth. I've been going back and forth about it, and me and Herc have had conversations regarding it. So I was a little bit more open-minded going into this conversation. But hearing his not struggle, but hearing that persistence, hearing that go,
his journey.
it's crazy how a lot of careers wouldn't happen if you wouldn't have people in the right spot, like his coach, like the one that told him like, no, what are you doing? Shut up. Or his homie saying, let's go to San Diego. Like, that's insane.
Or his homie giving him a spot to stay at. Yeah, like listen, like those are all that's all destiny. I mean, like they're parts are gonna be there for you. Again, great interview. I get to know Herc a little more, so I could hate him less when he's talking shit. I'm still gonna hate him when he's talking shit, but I hate him less.
All right.
Listen, banter, relax.
No, I get it. I get it. But that's the thing. To you is banter. There's a lot of Galaxy fans that take all this shit seriously, and
listen, you have to understand it's his job. Like, I hope this interview, the people that do take that seriously and like hate, listen to this interview and understand that second, because to us at times,
we get wrapped up.
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Exactly. You get wrapped up in the emotion. You get wrapped up in all of it. But understand it's his job. Understand that this is, and by all means, we might get shit talked to. Oh, you guys are listen to this interview and
adding to that, look, I didn't want to take up a lot more of his time, but I didn't start. I'm not saying I wanted to back him up, but I did want to allude to something that he mentioned. Steve Nichols used to be the coach for New England Revolution, and he's been on there giving New England Revolution shit before for all these shit years, and then he went on there talking about how, okay, well, now they have Bruce. Obviously, it's shit that not you guys, but, the Galaxy fans might not pay attention to. But I'm watching, shows religiously. Well, obviously, right now with everything going on, I don't have sports. But, I used to watch, like Rudy, you mentioned Football Picante on the pod a few minutes ago. I'm always on that shit. Jorge Ramos hizo banda. I mean, you name it. The ones that, ESPN FC, his show. Obviously, it's hard for me to watch everything, but whenever I'm able to, I watch these things, and I've caught episodes where you see, Steve Nichols. Again, he was the coach of New England when we beat them in the finals of the early years, right?
Well, listen,
you catch all the shit, and this is like me. This is why I don't. This is a personal thing, right? I don't give a shit. Like, they can say all they want. I don't put any energy into that, right? Because I know better. Yeah. But a lot of Galaxy fans, they take that shit to heart.
Hey, listen, it's I'm with you most of the time. I don't give a shit, but then sometimes I get irked and I'm like, right? I don't vent on Twitter like some of you do. But you know what I mean? Like, again, I think,
the majority. Let's be honest here. It's the majority. But the majority do.
But listen. What I'll say is though that this type of interview kind of gives us a little insight into what's going on and the insight into who he is, right? So now when I read some shit, like I probably breathe before I vent or before.
Well, the one thing that does bug me is he thinks the Galaxy Stadium is shit.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Well, our guys, our stadium is built
in the interview. Yeah, in the interview.
Listen, I know
when the stadium came out, it was like the shiny. It was it. Yeah. He gave me like he was the part of that moment where that stadium was what everyone wanted.
Listen, what is it? Dallas Stadium was built based on the dignity. You know what I mean? Like, so
just about every single stadium since has been built with something from the dignity. Or dignity. Well, now it's called dignity, right?
Let's wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're doing double up today. We got AJ coming.
I thought it was dope. By the way,
we got what, the interview?
Yeah, with Herc. Yeah. I thought it was dope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
listen,
hell yeah. Yeah.
And I think we're getting the hang of this, so our interviews are a little more fluid. You know what I mean? Like, we're figuring this out. So,
well, I was stuck. I was like this because obviously I couldn't see shit. So now, I had some technical difficulties. That's why I'm like, yeah.
But overall, it's a good conversation, especially in audio. It's gonna be real dope. We'll keep doing shit. So, yeah. We'll
see you guys in a bit. We got AJ today.
Yeah, we gotta shit do. All right, boys. Catch you guys. Catch you next time. There's another motherfucking episode of Straight from the Stands. I'm your boy Rudy at I Am Smarts on Twitter. I Am Smarts on Twitch. I Am Smarts on the gram.
I'm George, J Undefeated 7. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter.
This is Angel. Follow me at ADF3691. And if you want to talk shit to me, follow me on my other account at Herculez Gomez.
Peace.
Peace.